Hello, I'm Emma and welcome to ScotlandShop on the Sofa. In this edition, we are delighted to bring you along to Ferniehirst Castle. We are joined by Castle Curator Bob Lawson, who takes us on an exciting tour and delves deep into the history of Clan Kerr's connection with the castle. Ferniehirst is enriched with history dating back to the 16th century. The castle is located in the Scottish borders town of Jedburgh. The town itself holds claim to a lot of Clan Kerr history. Jedburgh is home to the Kerr Crypt, the Mary Queen of Scots house which was built by a courageous Kerr, and the ruins of Jedburgh Abbey. Let's start with the history of the mighty Ferniehirst Castle. A blend of the 15th, 16th and 17th century, along with minimal modern additions, the most striking part of the castle is the main tower. It can be accessed via a small doorway in the courtyard. A decorative ogee can be seen above the door. It is surprising that the door opens inward, as in 1598 a defensive castle would have had doors opening outward to help push back the enemy. This leads us to believe that the specific door was replaced in 1603, after the brutal battles in the borders ceased. When you enter the main tower, you are greeted with a grand sweeping staircase, and the walls are wood-panelled with light oak, which was added in 1890. The layout of the castle has changed significantly over the years. While currently the tower door leads to a large open staircase, at one time the door would have opened into apartments. Once you've climbed the stone staircase, you reach a studded, strengthened door to the spiral staircase, quite a breathtaking part of history. As this door dates back to circa 1598, it is the only door of its kind that remains in the castle, as in World War II the castle played as a station for many troops. During the harsh Scottish winter, the troops used the castle doors as firewood to survive the cold. From the top of the staircase you enter a room immersed in great Kerr history. This would have once been named the Buttery. It is now a hall of history. Around the room are detailed paintings of Kerr history, starting with the Kerrs coming out of Stavanger in Norway. In this tapestry you can see a left-handed soldier, something the Kerr family are known for. The tapestry story wraps around the room and features depictions of the defeat of the English battle at Ancram, Sir Thomas Kerr and Mary Queen of Scots, the rebuilding of Ferniehirst in 1598, and a grand celebratory feast. Below the murals are the names of the surnames of the workers involved in the 1980s restoration of the castle. In the buttery, there is a small door which leads to the left-handed staircase. You might remember a different left-handed staircase from our tour of Mary Queen of Scots house. The reason there is a left-handed staircase is because a larger than average number of Kerrs were known to be left-handed, and when the enemy would eventually siege the castle and climb the staircase, they would be at a huge disadvantage, and they would be forced to the smallest point of the spiralling staircase. That gave the Kerrs an opportunity to push them back and be able to descend the stairs while brandishing their swords. While it may seem like a small insignificant feature to the untrained eye, the left-handed staircase design was detrimental in giving the courageous Kerrs the upper hand in defending their beloved castle. Upon entering the Great Hall, you are met with a large grand painting of the famous faces which have influenced Ferniehirst Castle's history. As your eyes take in the impressive space, they are drawn to the large grandfather fireplace, which was thought to have been built in the 17th century. The portraits of both Sir Thomas Kerr and his second wife Janet Scots are on display on the west wall. They were painted by Adam de Cullen. Sir Thomas Kerr was born at Ferniehirst Castle in 1529 and he became the Laird of Ferniehirst in 1562. At the same time was the beginning of Mary Queen of Scots' turmoil. Sir Thomas was loyal to the Queen and was reported to have been one of the knights that joined the Queen at Hamilton after her daring escape from Loudon. It is almost certain Mary Queen of Scots would have visited Ferniehirst. She attended an assize in the town, and of course she rented a home from the Kerrs for a month, now known as Mary Queen of Scots House, which is a museum. Sir Thomas was declared a traitor and outlaw by the supporters of King James VI. This ultimately resulted in the destruction of Ferniehirst Castle by Lord Ruthven in 1571. Thomas and his first wife agreed in relinquishing the castle and the terms of the agreement. However, Regent Morton took it upon himself to arrest the two and keep them captive. Sir Thomas was exiled and his wife was hanged. In 1579, Sir Thomas Kerr was allowed to return and James VI restored his lands to him and gave him his whole estate back. While it seemed the worst of Thomas's life was behind him, He was still a representative of one of the most powerful riding families of the border Middle Marches, and faced many more difficulties in the years to come. Sir Thomas Kerr was present at the murder of Lord Russell, and unfortunately Queen Elizabeth saw Thomas as a villain and ordered his arrest. At the same time, James VI fought that he should not be delivered to the English, so instead he was imprisoned in the toll booth in Aberdeen, where he later died. There are many famous Kerrs on the walls at Ferniehirst, and their trials and tribulations all intertwine to make it very difficult to find a correct version of history. Within the Great Hall there is also a wall of what Bob described as the Rogue Wall. While there are certainly a few questionable characters on the wall, the most notable is Earl of Morton. He was a great enemy of the Kerrs and has deep-pitted hatred for Sir Thomas Kerr because of his loyalty to Mary Queen of Scots. He was a tough man and introduced an early form of the guillotine named the Maiden, a brutal way to die, unjustly used to get rid of his own enemies. Earl Morton was eventually sentenced to death. His power and greed had led him astray, and in a moment of karma, he was decapitated with his own device. It is also thought that Thomas had paid to get good seats at the Earl's public execution. While the last room open to the public inside the castle is perhaps the smallest, it is by far the most enchanting room to see. A small library is tucked away, hidden in plain sight. The circular room is filled with fragile books dating back hundreds of years. Most intriguing is the ceiling. It can only be described as a cluster of wooden doorknobs. The first thought when you look up to the unique ceiling is why, and quite simply, the explanation is at one time there would have been a ladder on wheels, and the knobs were used to pull yourself where you needed to be, without having to climb down, move the ladder, and climb back up again. I think it's fair to say that health and safety would definitely not approve of this idea today. The castle has played an important role throughout history, and has faced many atrocities. This can be clearly seen in the two Basil Houses. While one stands proud and intact, the other is a mere ruin. The one remaining Basil House is now a lovely visitor centre. However, cast your mind back to the 16th century Scottish borders. This building would have been used as a fortified farmhouse, named a Basil House. Clansmen would go, steal cattle from other farms, walk them back to their Basil House and store the cattle. The only entrance to the building is a very narrow opening. Therefore, the clansmen would have to twist the head of the cattle to get them through the building. This doorway has since been converted into a window. However, the old doorway can be seen in the brickwork. The remaining Basil House is a wonderful piece of architecture, with detailing that is extraordinary. The corners of the building were updated in the 17th century, with buckle coins. They were designed by James Murray and only appeared on houses of distinction. In the 17th century, the building was converted to a chapel, and the 17th century door remains to welcome visitors. Around the door are sandstone eggs. Eggs were symbolic of coming into being. These eggs are also observed on churches in the Netherlands. Above the door are the monograms of Sir Andrew Kerr and his wife, Dame Anna Stuart. Inside the visitor centre, you will find pictures of the family and their history, but also something that really stands out is the flag that stands central on the back wall. It features the family crest, and its vibrant colours draw you into the building. A walk around the room gives you a brief history of the family and the history of the castle. In the corner stands a model of the castle, which not only shows the grandeur of the castle, but more modern additions have been added after the initial building was built. It is here that you learn that at one point the castle was even converted into a youth hostel, proof that this fortress has taken many forms while it continues to inspire generations of historians. Ferniehirst is a wonderful place and is a crucial piece of Kerr family history. We couldn't tell the story of Ferniehirst without the brief mention of sheep. On the grounds of the castle are a small flock called Viking Sheep. They are very small, and on the tour were very friendly and allowed us to share their field while we explored. The sheep are significant as they originate from Norway and play a constant reminder of the Kerr clan roots, and that they come all the way from Stavanger in Norway too. My favourite feature of the castle was the Clamcare Museum, located in the Undercroft and filled with the story of the Kerr family. Upon setting foot in the Undercroft, there are 3 stars shaped into the cobbled floor. The stars are in fact mullets, and they can also be seen on the Kerr coat of arms. Mullets are the part of a spur, and the important part of the clan's history. The museum is home to many fantastic photographs and snippets of history just like this. Of course, we are delighted to see the Kerr tartan proudly on display. The tartan can be seen by visitors, and there are many variations on display within the museum. Perhaps the most interesting part of this treasure trove is the steel bonnet. The helmet was found in the 19th century on the site of the Battle of Ancram, which was fought in 1545. The Kerrs of Ferniehirst rode into battle on the side of the English, however fought with the Scottish, and ultimately the Scots won and the English retreated. Thank you for joining us as we'd explored Ferniehirst Castle. We hope you learned more about the Kerrs, and if you find yourself on the Scottish borders, book a tour of this castle. Currently, Bob Lawson runs the tours and is extremely well versed in all things Clan Kerr. Tours run for the entire month of July, so don't miss out. Check out our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, email, newsletter and social media to stay up to date with all of our clan content. Thank you for watching!